Everybody was doing heroin, and overnight it became fentanyl. And it was just that quick that you wanted the fentanyl and you don't want the heroin anymore. Even if you get heroin, you wanted the fentanyl.
I'm Flindt Andersen, founder of PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need. I've been in recovery since 2001, and there isn't much I don't know about recovery. And my mission is to constantly tell the truth about addiction, to make the realities of addiction, recovery, and drug culture known, and to drive awareness and advocate change that ultimately saves lives.
And I'm Jason LaChance, a certified recovery coach with a passion for speaking with others and sharing their knowledge to help others seek recovery and maintain long-term sobriety. And this is the Don't Hide the Scars podcast, presented by PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need.
Flindt Andersen, another edition of the Don't Hide the Scars podcast.
What's happening, buddy?
Well, we got not one, but two guests today.
We do.
Danny and Howie. And hey, thanks for joining us, guys. We wanted you to feel like Theo Vaughn at least once in your lifetime. So, we figured this out. So, where do you want to start, Flindt?
Well, I don't know. These boys are kind of proud of them. They're both in recovery, but I'm going to let them introduce themselves and just tell everybody a little bit who you are.
All right, me first?
Yeah, but you first, man.
Right. How deep do you want to know?
You could go as deep or as shallow as you want.
Give it like it was a speaker meeting, but you had 2 minutes.
I'll qualify in 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. Name's Howie. I'm from a little city south of Boston called Brockton, Massachusetts. It's where Rocky Marciano's from. That's kind of what we're famous for. That and crime and drugs. And came out here almost 4 years ago. Been in recovery since 2004. Put together almost a decade. Got diagnosed with cancer in 2015. Used that as an excuse to relapse for a number of years. And finally just got sick of it and put myself back in treatment in 2018. So now I'm here and I'm just trying to be as involved as possible and just give it to the next guy,
Nice.
It's the name of the game. So that's a quick pitch.
That's the quick pitch. I like it. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm Danny, from Fresno, born and raised. Had a good childhood. Everything was good. Just, I think I came from that minority who likes to use drugs. And with that, Oxycontin, heroin, and fentanyl, just like that. We've been in recovery since over a year now.
Congrats.
Just trying to learn how to live life right now. I'm trying to figure out who the I am and go from that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Nice.
And we've talked about that a lot, that early struggle. We were just talking with a buddy of mine from the East Coast about this, that, that first year, sometimes you'll see people, especially we see it on social media, like, I've got 45 days and they're trying to conquer the world. And I think a lot of them don't sit in the, hey, let's work some kind of program. Doesn't have to be 12 steps. I never went to rehab, but something before we're trying to save the world. We kind of got to figure out ourselves and save ourselves a little bit and know how to confront and deal with some situations and scenarios.
Exactly. So either one of you, what was your biggest challenge coming out of rehab? Start with Danny.
Definitely the criminal justice system and getting things in order.
See if we can laugh about it now.
I went in there fully expecting nothing to happen, but when I came out, life got real fast. There was no pink cloud. It was, here's what you've been doing, and now you have to be accountable for it.
Right.
So I've spent this last year doing everything I've needed to do, and I'm not over the hump yet, but I definitely see light at the end of the tunnel. So that's where I'm at right now.
Great.
Yeah.
How about you, Howie?
The hardest thing after treatment, that's a tough one, I would say the hardest thing would be me accepting that all the wreckages of the past was by my own doing, not putting the blame on others for my own actions, like trying to accept who I am for who I am.
Yep.
And honestly, probably the hardest thing, it took me a long time, was able to look in the mirror and actually be like happy with the reflection. Like they said, learn to love yourself.
Yeah.
Took me a long time.
Hey, don't fret, man. It takes everybody a long time on that one.
Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
It does. So both of you guys were into fentanyl, right?
Not initially.
Not initially, but
kind of, I got a couple years on him, so I started off with pills and cocaine, and
Well, pills were the big thing in the Massachusetts area too.
Yeah. I mean, fentanyl was out there a long time ago.
Right.
Working in recovery, everybody that I would test, all of a sudden there would be no more opiates in the test. It would all be fentanyl. Mm-hmm. So it just kind of came in, and then my sick brain, people would get, they'd overdose or whatever, and we'd go searching for it. Mm-hmm. Started doing fentanyl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where'd it take you, man?
Bad places, that just like him, it was everybody was doing heroin, and overnight it became fentanyl, and it was just that quick that you wanted the fentanyl and you don't want the heroin anymore. Even if you get heroin, you wanted the fentanyl. And I've said this before, if I would look back or told myself where I would have been when I was 18 years old, I would have said, get the F out of here.
Right.
Because it got that real that quick. Right. So, I look back on it, and it's, I've overcome it, but it still blows my mind to the stuff that I did to this day.
Yeah. So let's talk about the fentanyl thing a little bit, because there's a lot of, I don't know, there's a lot of people out there, claiming that nobody knows that they're buying fentanyl, which and I know is all bullshit.
Yeah.
Right. Because when you're particularly a fentanyl addict, if you're searching for that longer high, that's what we're searching for, and that's what we know we're buying. And in fact, we're going to be pissed off if it's not it.
Yep. Yeah.
But so set some of these people straight a little bit on this issue.
I would get the fentanyl test strips that they would give you to make sure that you were not getting fentanyl, to verify that I had fentanyl. And not because I wanted anything else, but I wanted to know that I had fentanyl in it and nothing else, because I wanted the stuff that was stronger every single time. Right. So the test strips were used for that. There's the Narcan and whatnot, but I'd use it as a safeguard, as just in case I OD'd, I'd have it. But it wasn't harm reduction, as they would say. I was making sure my drugs were legit every time with fentanyl.
Absolutely.
Well, you just bring up the interesting thing about having the Narcan. So did you have a get high buddy where you're taking turns? or was the logic not there that, oh yeah, this is fentanyl, I'm pretty much going to get that bread?
It was there. I mean, we had it because it was distributed, but it was, if it happened, it happened, and I was shooting for that line every time. I wanted to go from not just the get high line. I wanted to get right on that high where I was just about to OD every single time. And if I OD'd, it happened, and if I woke up, we're going to do it again every single day. There was no, I just want to get well today. I want to get right to that point where I'm just about to OD every single time. If it happens, that's just part of the game.
Right. That's what everybody doesn't get out there. That's what a lot of these harm reduction people are not. How do I put this? They are, God, it's just pie in the sky thinking. I mean, I don't know why they're even saying half the shit that they're saying.
I mean, I can make parallels. It's, they think that we want to just have the girlfriend and use condoms every time, whereas we want to go to the orgy with no rubbers. We want to take, we want, there it is. I mean, it's the truth.
It is the truth.
We want to go to the mat. I mean, by the end of my drinking, I was hardly eating, and I wanted to get drunk as quick as possible, as cheap as possible.
Yeah.
Right. And that was my thing.
Yep.
Right. And again, I always said that for those that don't understand addiction, shut your damn mouths, because you don't know what we go through. You don't know what our thinking is. Yep. And every single time, it's, even though fentanyl was not around when I got clean, let me tell you something. If it was, I probably wouldn't be sitting here, because I took it to that line every time with pills. I mean, it didn't matter if there were 70 pills a day or 80 pills a day. Whatever there was, I took. Yep, absolutely. Because there was two reasons. One, I didn't want to get dope sick, and I always wanted to get higher than I was the last time. Yep. I mean, there it is.
And people who haven't been there, there's no way that they can say, okay, well, this is the way to reduce that. It's impossible.
None.
There's no.
So do you think by these long-term harm reduction people, or harm reduction people in general, they're not even offering people treatment. They're I call it short-term harm reduction saves lives, long-term harm reduction keeps people trapped. So do you think they're just trying to keep people trapped? Look, that's kind of a question. If you haven't thought about it a lot, it's like one day.
It's like the lesser of two evils. Right. They always say it. If you're not robbing and stealing and committing crimes to obtain your drugs, then just go to a government prescribed drug dealer, a methadone clinic, or Suboxone. But in a short term to come off drugs, Suboxone is a really good tool. It
is.
And I remember I've had this conversation when I came in here and I was like, can I be on methadone? And I'm like, what's the harm in just trying to get sober? You can always be on it later. What's the harm in trying? And if abstinence doesn't work, then so be it. Those tools are still there for you, but there's no harm in at least trying the process. And I look back on it, it's like, why the that thinking kept me trapped for so long that I needed to be on benzos and methadone, and all of a sudden you get that clear-mindedness after you get clean. If only I would have known this 10 years earlier, 8 years earlier, and it just blows my mind every time I think about it.
New Perceptions North, the premier drug and alcohol treatment and recovery center in Central California. A full continuum of medically supervised top quality care with programs for detox and patient residential treatment with dual diagnosis, intensive outpatient treatment, sober living support groups, and more. New Perceptions North provides adult men and women with the highest caliber of professional health care, treating each client with compassion and respect, in a safe, comfortable environment to begin the process of recovery to proudly create and sustain a life without addiction. Call 559-978-1507 or visit newperceptionsnorth.com.
Even in my early days, there were people that wanted to keep me on something. In all those little outpatient programs I told you I went to, they always wanted to keep me on some sort of drug. Half the time now I can't even remember, but I'm sure it was a benzo. There was Klonopin. They wanted to keep me on something, and it was all those drugs that made me feel like shit. I might as well, but nobody said, hey, let's just get you off of it. At least offer it.
Right.
I'm a huge advocate for not treating drugs with drugs.
But I
can see there's a leeway point.
There's a time period in there where you need to, because you look, man, most people that go into treatment, they're not going to cold turkey this bitch.
No.
And right?
Hey, you want to use whatever they go.
Right. And with alcohol and with benzos, we have to detox with certain narcotics.
Absolutely.
Because we don't want them going into seizure. We don't want them having a stroke or having a heart attack or dying on us. But again, for a short period of time.
I think a big thing too is if they're in detox and they cut everything, their mind goes to, okay, I need to feel better, and guess what's going to happen? AMA, and go back out in the streets and get high again.
Immediately.
Well, like I always talk about, is the body and the brain want to have some sort of homeostasis, and all of us addicts know we like the point where we are down low because it gave us the opportunity to go wherever we wanted to go with it, right? And so it's you're right, Howie. The brain is still stuck in that thing like, oh, I got to ping back up real quick and try to get level. Well, but it just doesn't work that way when we're taking a bunch of shit into our body. It's going to ping up and then it's going to drop down. Think about the drinking hangover cycle. That's exactly what occurs.
Literally.
So I think there's a lot of people, and I think their intentions are good, but I think Flindt, as I will always agree, like, are you an addict? No. Then why the are you trying to be at the forefront of this?
Right.
And not ask the people in recovery.
Right.
What it is. What was addiction like? Right. You would learn pretty quick.
Yeah.
It's probably a bad idea if I really care about this person ever having a life of any kind whatsoever.
Right. Liquid handcuffs, terrible idea,
But they've got these, but what is it? It's dancesafe.org, and it's, what's the alliance?
Drug Policy
Alliance. They even say that they've got practicing addicts working for them, right? But I don't are these practicing addicts that are promoting long-term harm? Why would they have them? Right. Why would they have them working for them in, quote, the recovery field?
and clarify the addiction.
We're on air, right? There it
So
is.
you need some clarifying answers on what practicing addicts is too. You know what I mean? Because that's a pretty good blanket term that you could put on anybody.
Is this food? Is it technology? Is it debtors anonymous? What is it? Right.
Are they people who have seen their bottom, been in the gutter, lying, cheating, stealing, robbing to get high, whatever we had to get high, that are in there advocating for this.
Yeah.
And if they are, then why are they? Did it work for them? You know what I mean? Me personally, it would never work.
Well, we were talking earlier today with somebody, and there are people, and there's some out there that you guys know. I won't mention them here because I'll get a whole bunch of hate mails. But there are people in the treatment industry, even around here, that got clean and sober, if you want to call it the old-fashioned way. All right.
White knuckling?
No, they still went through some Suboxone treatment and that type of thing, right? But now they're promoting long-term harm reduction. So what I was saying earlier, that there are a lot of these people everywhere across country. It's just not here in Fresno, but there's a lot of these people that they work in the treatment industry, and I think because, and again, I'm sure this has something to do with it, because there's competition in the treatment industry, because it's difficult to make that living, because we live in California and everything's so damn high. But there's people out there that want to bring people back and back, and back and back, like a body brokering type of thing.
Yeah.
And that's where, look, all of us, and everybody knows I own a treatment center as well. There are times when that client does come back. There's no question about it.
On their own accord. They've relapsed, whatever the case may be. Which is on their own accord.
Of course.
Okay.
But when somebody bring somebody back because they've been promoting them to be on another drug. I hope this makes some sort of sense.
No, it does.
You get in there.
Okay. That's just bullshit in my opinion. So you have to ask yourself the question, why are the people that went through rehab, got clean and sober without being on something for a long period of time, why are they promoting it?
It's got to be some sort of incentive to do it.
Yeah.
What do you always say?
That's what my brain.
Follow the money.
There's always
Greatest incentive.
some sort of kickback that people follow.
There's always something.
And I personally don't agree with it at all.
Right. Right. So with that being said, let's just get into some here.
Sure.
Okay.
I like shit.
What do you like and what you don't like about the Fresno recovery scene?
Me first. The amount of meetings that I'll start with what I do like. The amount of meetings that are available to you, 12-step meetings, whether it be AA, HA, CA, NA, whatever you are. I'm not a huge fan of NA. It's just my opinion.
Right.
AA got me sober, and I was never an alcoholic per se. It wasn't my drug of choice.
Right.
I would do it in the interim as if I was waiting to get high. I would drink if it was there. So great meetings, great people, great recovery community. But like with the treatment centers, you can kind of weed out who's doing it and who's not. The climate here is great compared to the East Coast, because if I have to, you don't have to walk through the snow to get to a meeting. You know what I mean? So I can't use that as an excuse anymore. I have not been in treatment here, so I don't know. I know a lot of people in treatment here and how I've been in treatment here. And I have my own opinions on different ones and different outcomes, of course. But I would say the availability of resources is probably one of the best things that you have here. Yeah. I'd say there's always room for improvement, for sure. But there's no shortage for somebody who's looking for help. If you're in Fresno, you can find help one way or another.
Cool.
Things I dislike about Fresno or recovery in Fresno. Probably go back to what we were just talking about. There's some stuff I don't agree with certain facilities, how they operate. But I think you're going to find that anywhere. I've lived in Florida. I've done treatment in Florida. They have a huge body brokering problem, you know. But yeah, I didn't feel unwelcome at all when I first moved here. I came in with about 18 months, and I came right in, jumped right into recovery, be of service as soon as possible, and just welcomed me with open arms.
Nice.
You know, I've never had a bad vibe from anybody in recovery.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So, yeah.
Danny?
I would say when I came in, it was I guess being from Fresno, I would say it's a small town, but it's not that small of a town. It's small enough to where you might not know somebody, but you'll know somebody who knows that person real quick. So I came in not thinking there would be comparing to like San Francisco or LA, there would be a lot of meetings, but I immediately found that it's AA, NA, CA, HA. There's all these 12-step meetings. So I was very, very happy, and none of them are that far away. They're always going on. And then with me, it was, I guess it's just how it was the first couple of months. I really didn't hit meetings. And then I met somebody that encouraged it. So I started meeting a lot more people from different places. So I guess the recovery community here is pretty strong. I don't like, sometimes at certain meetings, we'll just say there'll be a majority of people from some places that promote where they're coming from too much. So a meeting can easily turn into this particular treatment center's. It's almost like, I'm like, are we at an AA meeting or are we at this treatment center meeting? Right. And that kind of annoys me sometimes. But, you know, at the end of the day, just keep my side of the street clean, if it says. Yep. Don't worry about that. It is what it is. And so, yeah, it's there's a big recovery community, and, you know, definitely have resources there.
Nice. Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, that's a hard thing to, what you finished on there, Danny, is, that annoys the out of me. Mm-hmm. I'm with you on that. Like, what are we trying to promote here? Like, it shouldn't be anything other than recovery. Right. Like, you know, I get maybe you're grateful for whatever, but come on.
Right.
It's not, you know.
When is enough?
Yeah, when is enough? When is it, you know, be like me going to, you know what Flindt Andersen did for me? I'm going to start there. Right. The topic is character defects. Well, until Flindt Andersen, it's like, okay, come on. Shit, you know, like, let's, I don't know. All right.
Yeah, I mean, Fresno really has come a long ways in the recovery process, but I agree with you, Danny. I really do. You know, there's meetings need to be just that. They need to be AA meetings, NA meetings, CA meetings, whatever they are these days. You know. Without the extra bullshit thrown in. It's just that simple, because it's, you know, I've always thought, I really don't care where somebody goes as long as they help you and as long as you can walk out of there, right, with your head held up and start the recovery process. You know, when you start promoting all over the place, to me, that just goes beyond. You know, when you're arrogant about it, when you're just that, when you're arrogant about it, it's like, I'm sorry, go f*** yourself. Mm-hmm. That's just the way I feel, and I've never been one to hold back what I want to say, and you know, that's that. How did for both of you guys, I mean, I kind of know your stories, so but man, what a difference in with moms and dads and siblings and all that now.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You know, my brother doesn't like can be in the same house, you know, like mother fucking each other. You know, we're all there chilling with my mom, and you know, it's crazy that my mom never ever turned her back on me. She always wrote it out with me, but it's just the peace that I give her now is, you know, I'm still not a perfect son. Like, she comes over and cooks food, and I still complain about picking up the dishes, and that should be the first thing I should do. But you know, I'm allowed to. You know, my mom's held it down. That's all she's ever know how to do is hold it down. And for her to actually have some peace of mind is, you know, it's huge. It's absolutely huge.
Yeah, she can sleep at night. Right.
Absolutely.
Instead of worrying about the phone call or who's going to knock on the door and all that other stuff.
She'll call me. Just, you know, sometimes she's called me before, and you know, she was just like, oh, I got a phone call. from someone in Fresno County Jail, and it was just some guy randomly calling her number, and she's calling you freaking out. I'm like, Mom, you know where I'm at? I'm just like, look, I have PTSD. You got to give me some time. You know, like, I can understand that. Yeah,
you bet.
And that's so valid that people forget. We talk about a lot. This is a family disease, even if the family isn't personally the addict, but how everyone that cares suffers. It's
right.
You know, it's crazy. I know my parents that lived 4 hours away from me was constant after the first police call came through.
Yep.
It was I was like, why are you calling this time? Oh, thank goodness, you're just calling to catch up,
Right.
And then they made it pretty clear, hey, you're drinking, I'm gonna hang up now. And I had to get used to that. So it was, don't call Mom and Dad before I start drinking. Got it.
Right.
Right. So it's
So much you.
I forget the question.
Family dynamics.
Family dynamics. Oh, man, I started getting in trouble when I was real little. I was like a little
Hellraiser.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm too far. But yeah, I mean, I always say in the meetings where I speak, my mom is the only person that I've ripped off 1,000,000 times that still speaks to me.
Yeah.
There's been many years where I wasn't allowed at holiday functions. There's been many years where I was getting up in the bathroom at holiday functions and them finding me. And now to be able to call my mom on the weekends and talk to her and my grandmother and then, my grandmother's getting old. She's like 94 now. And she's always crying on the phone. I'm so glad you're doing so good. And, that's the big change. That's the change that I never thought I would have, I still don't talk to my brother and sister that much, but we were never really like super close. They were growing up. I was always the oldest. But, just being able to sit down and have a conversation with somebody without the thought in the back of my mind, like, when is this going to end? Because I really don't care what they're saying because I want to go get high, and actually listen, not just hear people, but actually listen to what they're saying. But especially my mom. My dad passed a long time ago. I was 18 when my dad passed. But me and my mom's relationship is, I wish I could do more for her. Like, I always wish I could do more for her, because she's done so much. She was literally the person driving me my first treatment program, my second, third, fourth, however many I went to, if I needed a ride. And it had something to do with trying to get better, for myself. She was always there. And I'll never forget it. Yeah. It's like the greatest gift of sobriety is having a relationship with my mom and my daughter.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, it's pretty interesting that families do come back.
Yeah.
That's what I try to get across to a lot of parents, especially when they're starting out, when they come into us, and I all of a sudden I start telling them, okay, you need to shut him down, right? You need to get rid of his cell phone. You need to stop paying for his gas. You need to stop paying for his car. And the list is long and distinguished at that point of what I'm telling them to do. And these parents are sitting there going, oh no, but
I feel bad,
right? And I can't do that,
right?
And the point to that, what I just said was this: well, my son or my daughter won't love me anymore. Right?
Yeah.
Well, bullshit. Okay, because love doesn't go away.
Right.
Look how many times I've stepped on my family. You stepped on yours over here. The love still is there. Okay, that never, ever, ever goes away. They may not like you while you're in your addiction, right? But moms and dads, I have found both sides. When you finally pull that trigger to get clean and sober, when you're finally making strides, and again, by the way, there's only one perfect son and you ain't him.
I wouldn't want that to happen.
Exactly, right? No, that's a great point. I don't want to be perfect.
No.
Look, man, that love will never, ever go away. And I just wish parents could grasp that sooner.
Yeah.
I really do.
I think for some of them, tell me if I'm wrong, but they think it's like burning a bridge when it's not. It's just changing what is and isn't accessible. It's like, I'm sorry, you're going to do your life. You're no longer accessible to my money. You're no longer accessible to our home for holidays. You're no, you know, and I think some people maybe think that way.
They do. Yeah.
But I know you've put it to them too, where it's like, oh, you think they're mad at you now? Guess what? This keeps going. They're not going to have a chance to be mad at you.
Right.
You're going to really hurt because you're going to be looking at their.
You're going to turn into a grief situation. Right. And a lot of them don't realize that them trying to be nice, and I had to cut myself off from my mom. I literally called her and I said, don't give me anything like for the next, for unforeseen future, because all it is I'm taking advantage of her enabling me in one way or another, paying my phone bill, paying the gas, but I always call. Always mom. And, you know, and I knew I had this master manipulation over my mother and father family members. And I know, I get it, because a lot of parents see it as them being mean to the kids, you know what I mean? But like, sorry, like it has to happen, you know, because we'll take advantage of it as long as we can. Especially as soon as we're still in that mindset and we're not recovered in any way, that income in whatever form it may be,
you bet,
is... You kidding me? That's something to fall back on.
Right.
You know,
my mom could, she could separate it pretty well. She'd always be like, who am I talking to? Am I talking to my son or the monkey on his back? Just like that. And she'd be like, you know, am I talking to Danny, the boy I love, or am I talking to the boy who's trying to get drugs right now? And, you know, she'd have rules, never come to my house. I'd break them, you know, never take shit from me. I would break, you know, and I'd press it all the time. And, you know, I think there's definitely always codependency and with it. And she is, but she, you know, she would set rules, and then I would self-exile myself because I wouldn't like to include her in the that I was doing. Right. And, you know, but it's so tricky with every family dynamic and any way you look at it. And I'd be lying. My mom still pays my phone bill today. You know, she still, if I need help or any way, as I'm in early sobriety, my mom's going to make it happen if she has the ability to. Right. If it's out, you know, if it's crazy, she'll be like, okay, we're going to sit down and talk and see what's going to happen. But, you know, my mom still has my back. She'll write it out with me. So, yeah, I've been blessed that I have a mom who, you know, she's been through it before, and, you know, she's the best of my mom.
Well, and again, you know, it's I don't have a problem with parents helping their kids. I mean, I do when they're in full-blown addiction. Yeah. All right? But look, you're working, you're doing things, you're being productive, you're going to meetings, you're working on your recovery, you guys are doing all that Okay, God, you know what? Yeah, if you need a little help with your phone bill, who cares?
Yeah.
Right? Who cares? Because you're being productive all of a sudden. Right? And you know that that's not an ongoing thing.
Correct.
You will know that Mom, I got it this month.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's the difference.
Yeah, it's a lot different when I've asked her for $40 twice a day to pay my phone bill, and I haven't paid for the last month. She's like, how many phone bills do you have anymore?
And it's either that $20 increment or $40 increment. That we all know.
I used to think I was slick and would be like, hey, Mom, do you have $142.73? And she'd be like, for what? Car insurance? And she's like, you don't have car insurance? You tried.
You haven't had a car in 2 years.
Right. Like, you might have a car, but it's not yours, you know, type of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I literally cut myself off. I put myself in treatment. I called my mom. I said, listen, if I call you for anything, don't give it to me. Yeah. I said, I don't need it. Yeah. I said, I don't need it, you know? And
I'll tell you what, that's anyway, I'm not going to go down that road. So, Danny, I know you and I were talking a couple days ago, and you were talking about your San Francisco days. Yeah. And look, you say whatever you want to say here, and I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm not, because what I'm trying to get through with this particular podcast is to let those parents know that listen to this, all right? That even though you and Howie and Jason and myself and the majority of us grew up in decent homes with decent moms and dads, that we can wind up in some of the most effed up places because of our addiction. And there's so many times when these parents will go, oh, my son, because I'll say this, I'll say your kid is no different than the person on the streets of San Francisco. They're just sleeping in a better bed in your house. Yeah. oh, my son would never be able to make it on the streets of San Francisco. My son doesn't know doesn't know those people there. They have, and I'm sitting there going, let's see, he's never home. He's using fentanyl. He looks like he weighs 90 pounds. Okay, guarantee you, Mom, he's somewhere. You know, so, and I've had several young guys over the years that have wound up in San Francisco for numerous reasons, right? Pretty much a hellhole up there, isn't it?
Oh, it's yeah. I mean, you're scoring drugs right outside of that Fed building. I mean, it's right there and it's everywhere. And all of a sudden, you know, you're doing whatever you're doing, and you look over and you see a cop. You're like, oh my God, the cop doesn't care what you're doing. He walks up, people are using drugs right in front of him. People are on walls, and it's just, you know, people breaking into cars, and it's just like, where the am I?
Right.
Where the am I? It, like, is this the town? Like, it's happened in the last 10 years. It was just the way it's transformed so quick it's pretty crazy.
It is.
Well, and I think people don't. A lot of the people don't understand it. That was such a good point. Well, not my son. He couldn't survive on the streets. Look, the most feral part of our brain has taken over.
Right.
Like, we've gone into ultimate scavenger mode.
The best shit for the cheapest price, and I'm going to find it wherever it is.
Right.
Just like that.
Right.
And that's it. That's
a drug addict is very resourceful. Very resourceful.
Yeah. Well, that's all we want.
Yeah.
And so, we could easily adapt really quick to whatever it is.
I don't know how many times my mom was going up there to buy cars or go to look at cars. She's like, you sure go look at a lot of cars up in the Bay Area. I'm like, yeah, a lot of cars.
They're cheap up there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you were getting them. They probably were cheap. Break the window, off you go. I'll get on that one. But yeah, no, it's just interesting how you know, a parent can watch their kid literally disintegrate in front of them, you know, and now, again, fentanyl's changed the game. I mean, it's not like in my day even with pills, where it took almost years to get to that point of the weight loss and that look in our eye, right, and all the rest of it. Because with fentanyl, I mean, you get there quickly.
And where's the progression going to be from how we went from fentanyl to now there's the carfentanil, iso, trank, benzodope. It's just it's progressing at an exponentially faster pace. And where's it going to be at in 5 years?
Right. It's going to be one you're dead.
Right, exactly. That's the thing.
It already is.
I look at it as growing up, it's like we got to smoke weed and do coke, as I said, like normal people did. There are people did, I know. Right. And there's no, I mean, experimenting, but when you have the chance of, we're talking 60% of coke is cut with fentanyl now.
Yeah, right.
When it's over 50% chance I might have a good time, or I'm dead. Right. Like, it just blows my mind.
Right. And again, let's throw this out there. The addict doesn't care.
No.
The addict doesn't care.
No.
Yeah.
You know, I keep saying it. There's worse things to the addict than death.
Yeah.
And when I say that to a parent or a family member, whoa, that just does not register to them. Yeah. It just doesn't register because they don't know what it's like when we're literally in that frame of mind that we are seeking that drug out. We're like a heat-seeking missile. Mm-hmm. And our parents aren't going to get in the way, our wives aren't going to get in the way, our kids aren't going to get in the way, nobody's going to get in the way of us doing this thing. And they still are in this flat-out denial, you know. And it's scary. And I just don't know where we're going from here, to be honest with you. I just, day in and day out, it's just getting worse. And you were saying, too, now that the Hondurans are in San Francisco.
It's all Hondurans. Every last one of them. I mean, there is cartel, but it's all Hondurans in every last one of them. And I don't know how that works or whatever, but they're the ones running the streets up there.
Yeah, I have no clue on that one. But it sure was interesting. Remember we were talking with Tom when, you know, the Chinese president came in and Newsom all of a sudden cleaned up the streets.
There was no anywhere.
Right. But do you remember what Tom was telling us about the fences?
Yeah.
They put up fences, right? Mm-hmm. To keep, I mean, they moved everybody out of the streets, basically put them behind a wall, like
trope was true.
You can see through.
Just a wall you can see through, but a wall nonetheless. But people are saying we can't put up a wall across the border.
But it's the same people that bitch and moan about families and kids in cages.
Right.
It's this what do I call it? The other people. But they, and it's like it's crazy how, again, follow the money. This can get done.
It
It's just where the incentive. Right. And I don't think there's any incentive for the government. What I mean, really, if you take a state budget and you go, X amount of people are utilizing the state budget, what if 10,000 of them died this year?
Right.
Oh, that would free up some budget. And I really think that there's a lot of people that do think that way. I do think there are people in power that nefarious, that they just, it's not only that they don't give a shit, they're like, yeah, fine, let it happen. I think in their mind, it's like, eventually all those people will die off, and then the streets will clean up, and law and order will come back. I think there's a lot of delusions around this.
Yeah.
I will say in the last, January 1st, I'll be here 4 years. I've seen it now. Even in 4 years, I've seen it progressively decline, And I'm not from here, so.
Right.
It's funny, I went to San Francisco, I stayed in the Tenderloin, I thought it was great, and the cops are like, what are you doing staying here? So I was over here at the Hilton or whatever, and they're like, careful down there. I was like, if that's your bad, I said, you should go to Boston and check it out. Because this is pretty chill, right? And they thought I was nuts. But then I saw a guy shitting on the street.
Well, of course.
Just a matter of time.
Just a matter of time. So what do you guys, obviously you guys are in sober living.
Not anymore.
Well, no, that's right. You just bought a house. Man, that is so cool.
See, look what can happen for you people.
Yeah.
I mean, seriously.
Like literally, like the promises, they say they come true.
They do. Yeah, they do. But my point here is how important you guys really think and feel sober living is for especially for guys right now.
No, I say that when I was in treatment, and they're like, well, your mom said you can't go home and you can't afford an apartment, and she wants to go to sober living. I was like, fuck you talking about? How do you want to go look at a bunch of dudes, But I look at it, like I said, I met this guy there. He's the first guy I met when I came on the couch, and me and him became fast friends. And to this day, we call each other, and it's like some of the core group of people in my sobriety I met when I came into sober living.
Right.
And it's, not everybody comes from different walks of life. I wouldn't kick it with half of them any day of the week, but we don't fight, and it gives you that stopgap, like I said, where it gives you some time to get on your feet and allow you to do small increment steps forward, while it still gives you that stopgap where you're not having to pay for everything, or it's subsidized a little bit. So I feel like it's the time when it's right in front of you, you don't want to go through it. But I look back on it, I was like, best decision I made.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I regretted. Even though I was married, nobody wanted my ass home anyway, and I was walking right back into a minefield. I should have taken at least a couple of months, and that's one of my regrets. But that was a long time ago now.
Well, I think it offers. You guys tell me. I've never been through the process, but everyone I talk to, it seems to add that extra bit of really humbling. Because it's like you were saying, because hey, let's look at some of our alternatives. We could have been sharing a space with a lot of other guys where we're all in this jumpsuit with a number on it, and that's all we're known as. But I see it as like that transitional thing. I forget who it was. I was talking with Brandon Novak, and it was one of the cast members of Jackass, and he wasn't Brandon Novak, but one of the other guys, and I can't remember who it is. When he got clean, he got a job as a waiter, and went by his real name. I think it was Rab or one of those guys. Doesn't matter. But it was like, he's like, I knew I needed to humble myself. I was getting it to where it was easy to go call a girl, get the drugs, whatever else it was. So to me, it seems to bring like a humbling nature.
Yeah, that's definitely a part of it. Gives you a little bit more of a bubble from the outside world where you can focus more on yourself. You're still fresh out of treatment, so you still most likely feel like right. You don't want to meet new people. You don't want to sleep in a room with 3 other guys. Right. So on and so forth. But it will give you that space for yourself to go out, do your 90 and 90 or whatever your meetings are, and start working on yourself. and humble yourself for sure. But the transitional period is so important. You know what I mean? Because like you said, you're walking into a minefield. You know, I was always told, listen, you get sober and all of a sudden the dump truck of life shows up and just dumps everything that you have up on you.
It does.
As soon as your mind is clear, all of a sudden all of comes.
It does. It comes right at you like a avalanche.
Yeah.
God, I'll never forget coming home. My God, my wife picked me up in a borrowed Jeep Wrangler with no top. It was the end of March, still cold outside, and she never said a word. All the way.
And that's the worst.
Oh, it's the worst.
It's the worst.
And again, I basically walked in that house and went, now what?
Yep.
Now what? I didn't know what to start first.
Right, where to go?
You know,
yeah.
I mean, obviously, I do remember I went to a meeting that night.
Yeah.
You know, but other than that next day was like, holy shit.
And back in it.
Back in it again.
And about the waiter jobs, I was always in any houses I've been in on the East Coast or any that I've ran or managed. Number one requirement was to get a get well job, and I worked at Dunkin' Donuts. I came out, I worked at Dunkin' Donuts, man. And then I, slowly moved up the ladder, went back landscaping, and from there on, but literally you have to humble yourself.
Absolutely, you do. Absolutely. Well, guys, listen, man, I am extremely proud of both of you. You guys are doing an amazing job, and it's seriously, it does my heart good, and to see guys flourish and to become who you need to be.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm proud of you both. And you're getting married, I understand. No, you're not getting married? Come on, dude. I thought you were getting married.
No.
Oh,
Not that I know of. I got a housewarming party coming.
okay, all right. Did you see that look out there? Like, oh no.
I mean, she didn't ask.
See this. No, it's been in a discussion before, but it's just one of those like future tripping things that they say not to do in sobriety. Don't future trip,
Right.
I mean, we have an amazing thing going on, and just got a house, and she works a bajillion hours. I got my own things going on.
Cool.
And if it happens, it happens.
Yeah. There you go.
If it's right and it was meant to be, it'll be.
You bet. You bet.
I'm not letting her go, I'll tell you that.
Nah.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
No.
Well, guys, thank you very much. Love to have you back at another point. All right.
Anytime.
And we'll just keep going from here. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. Thanks,
You're welcome.
guys.
If you or a loved one is struggling with addiction, please call PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need, at 559-579-1551, or visit us online at painnonprofit.org. Follow us on social media on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Pain Nonprofit. And please subscribe to the Don't Hide the Scars podcast and share with others wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. And if you would like to donate to PAIN, Parents and Addicts in Need, please click the link in the description to make your tax-deductible donation today and help us save more lives gripped by addiction.